Excerpts from Chapter 21 of To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. Judge Taylor nodded, and Atticus took an envelope from Calpurnia.
Judge, This note is from my sister. She says my children are missing. Haven't turned up since noon. I know where they are, Atticus, Mr. Underwood spoke up. They're right up yonder in the colored balcony. Been there since precisely 1:18 p.m. Our father turned around and looked up. Jem, come down from there, he called.
Atticus and Calpurnia met us downstairs. Calpurnia looked peeved, but Atticus looked exhausted. Jem was jumping in excitement. "We've won, haven't we?"
"I've no idea," said Atticus shortly. "You've been here all afternoon? Go home with Calpurnia and get your supper, and stay home."
"Aw, Atticus, let us come back," pleaded Jem. "Please let us hear the verdict. Please, sir."
"Well, you've heard it all, so you might as well hear the rest. Tell you what, you all can come back when you've eaten your supper, and if the jury's still out, you can wait with us. But I expect it'll be over before you get back."
"You think they'll acquit him that fast?" asked Jem.
Atticus opened his mouth to answer, but shut it and left us.
Calpurnia nodded tacit consent to having Dill into supper.
"You all call Miss Rachel right now and tell her where you are," she told him.
Reverend Sykes had saved our places. We were surprised to find that we had been gone nearly an hour. "Ain't it a long time?" I asked Jem. "Sure is, Scout," he said happily.
Mr. Tate said, "This court will come to order," in a voice that rang with authority, and the heads below us jerked up. Mr. Tate left the room and returned with Tom Robinson. He steered Tom to his place beside Atticus and stood there. What happened after that had a dreamlike quality. In a dream I saw the jury return, moving like underwater swimmers, and Judge Taylor's voice came from far away and was tiny. I saw something only a lawyer's child could be expected to see, could be expected to watch for, and it was like watching Atticus walk into the street, raise a rifle to his shoulder and pull the trigger, but watching all the time, knowing that the gun was empty. A jury never looks at a defendant it has convicted, and when this jury came in, not one of them looked at Tom Robinson. The foreman handed a piece of paper to Mr. Tate, who handed it to the clerk, who handed it to the judge. I shut my eyes. Judge Taylor was polling the jury. "Guilty, guilty, guilty, guilty." I peeked at Jem. His hands were white from gripping the balcony rail, and his shoulders jerked as if each guilty was a separate stab between them. Dimly, I saw Atticus pushing papers from the table into his briefcase. He snapped it shut, went to the court reporter and said something, nodded to Mr. Gilmer, and then went to Tom Robinson and whispered something to him. Atticus put his hand on Tom's shoulder. Then he left the courtroom, but not by his usual exit. He must have wanted to go home the short way, because he walked quickly down the middle aisle toward the south exit. I followed the top of his head as he made his way to the door. He did not look up. Someone was punching me, but I was reluctant to take my eyes from the people below us and from the image of Atticus's lonely walk down the aisle. "Miss Jean Louise?" I looked around. They were standing. All around us, and in the balcony on the opposite wall, the black people were getting to their feet. Reverend Sykes's voice was as distant as Judge Taylor's. "Miss Jean Louise, stand up. Your father's passin'."